Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mr. Saucedo's YouTube videos. Today, we're going to be looking at dimensional analysis. And so, in case you haven't been following along in your notes, make sure that you follow along. And if you have any questions, you can let me know. So, dimensional analysis. What is dimensional analysis? Well, dimensional analysis is a way of solving problems where you are using conversion factors to convert from one unit to another. Now, there are many ways of doing this. Like I said, we're using dimensional analysis, but again, that's not really like a one size fits all kind of process. So, the method that we're going to be using is called using a conversion factor line box. The reason why we're using this is because it's one of the easiest ways of keeping track of everything when you're trying to solve problems like this. So, what do you draw? Well, you just draw a horizontal line and then a small vertical line. That's it. That's how you draw a conversion factor line box. Now, the upper left is the quantity that you are given. Then the quantity that you want or that you wanted, that's going to be what this is all equal to. And then your conversion factor is what goes in your right upper box and your right lower box. Okay? In case you're wondering about this little area over here, this isn't used ever, so you don't have to worry about that at all. So what do? Well, the conversion factor on top is what you multiply by. The conversion factor on the bottom is what you divide by. So this is multiplication right here, and this is division right here. So again, all of that's just kind of constant. It shouldn't be very different. Now, because this is kind of our method, we can use this to solve arbitrarily easy things that you probably wouldn't even need to use this process for. But here's an easy one. How many quarters are there in $5? So if I asked you this, you could probably do it in like 2 seconds. So think about it, right? How many quarters are in $5? So there are 4 quarters in $1. 5 times 4, that would be what, right? 20. So you could do that without this, but I want to show you simple examples so you can understand how to set them up. Okay. Now, how would we set this up? Well, I draw a conversion factor box like this. So I know I start with $5. I know I want my answer in quarters. I need to know what is going to be the relationship between dollars and quarters or quarters and dollars. So what do I know? I know I have 4 quarters in $1. Notice that these units are the same. $5, $1, they're the same. And the reason why they're set up this way is so that they cancel. So you end up canceling out the unit that you started with. So what does this mean? I have 5, I have 4, I have 1. 5 times 4 divided by 1, that is 20 quarters. And again, you did that all in your head anyway, without even needing a conversion factor box like this, okay? So if they're simple, of course you don't need to do this process, but I'm gonna say that most of you won't be able to do a lot of those calculations in your head when you're given something a little bit more complicated. Okay, here's another one. How many minutes are there in 715 seconds? This one is definitely a little bit harder. You'd probably need a calculator for it, but think about it, right? So exactly what we want. What are we given? What do we want? What's the conversion factor between them? So what am I given? Well, draw my conversion factor box. 715 seconds, good. What do I want? I want it in minutes. How many minutes are in a second or how many seconds are in a minute? Okay, doesn't really matter which one you decided to use, but the easiest one is, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So where would that go? That would go here. Notice seconds cancels with seconds. So I do 1 over 60 and seconds disappears. So I'm left with an answer in minutes. So in my calculator, I do 715 times 1, which doesn't really matter, divided by 60. What's 715 divided by 60? It's about 11.9 minutes. So there are almost 12 minutes in 715 seconds. Now, how many months are there in 15.5 years? Okay, again, conversion factor line box. What am I given? What unit do I want? And then I need to know how many months are there in a year? 12 months in 1 year. Notice the years disappear, they cancel. So I have 15.5 times 12. It's 186 months. Next up, how many yards are there in 125 feet? Conversion factor box. What am I given? 125 feet. What unit do I want it in yards? A lot of you probably don't know maybe how many feet there are in a yard. Doesn't really matter, but you could look it up. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. So if there are 3 feet in 1 yard, I have a yard on top, I have feet on the bottom, and there are three of them in 1 yard. Feet disappear, and I'm left with 41.7 yards. So that's how you use conversion factor boxes. Now, the other thing is that sometimes you need to use, them twice. So let's say there are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon and there are 16 tablespoons in a cup. How many teaspoons are there in 15 cups then? So this is giving me two conversion factors. Let's do the first step. Okay. So I'm given 15 cups. That's what I'm given. I want to know how many teaspoons there are, but there isn't a conversion factor that goes directly from cups to teaspoons. What there is, though, is I know there are 16 tablespoons in a cup. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that to tablespoons. And again, there are 16 tablespoons in a cup. Notice the cups disappear. 15 times 16 is 240 tablespoons. That isn't the answer's unit I needed. I needed it in teaspoons, but I can just do it one more time, one more conversion factor box, and solve my problem. So I have 240 tablespoons. It says there are 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. So again, I'm going to get my answer in teaspoons. 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. Notice the tablespoons go away. 240 times 3, that's 720 teaspoons. Okay? That one was definitely more complicated, but again, notice there wasn't a way for me to do this in one step. The conversion factors that I was given didn't give me a way of going from one to the other, so I had to improvise. Okay? So again, if you have any questions, let me know, but that's the end.